Hello everyone, welcome to Res Snapper. My name's MJ and this is Snap or Pass, the series where we look at the new cards coming to Marvel Snap each week. This week the new card is Moonstone. She's a 4/6 ongoing, has the ongoing effects of your 1, 2 and 3 cost cards here. We're going to be looking at the Spotlight week that she's in. I'll give you some synergies and counters, some deck ideas, we'll look at locations and some other fun stuff. You can use the chapters below to skip to the section you want. Now before we look at the mechanics of the card, I'm asking a big favour. Please comment below your favourite comic book story of all time, because basically I'm going to be making some custom season videos. If you don't have a favourite story, maybe just let me know your favourite comic run, comic arc, or even just comic. Write that below, and if you're new, subscribe if you're interested in seeing some future season custom content. Right, let's kick off with the mechanics. So, the archetypes that I think Moonstone is going to fit into are Ongoing, Patriot, and Zoo. I think these are the main ones where she makes the most sense. There is a few other ones as well. In fact, to be honest, I probably should have added Shield on here as well. We'll talk about that later. And the mechanics themselves. She is a new way to duplicate ongoing effects alongside Mystique and Onslaught. So we've already seen how powerful and the sort of combo potential that is unlocked by playing these duplication of ongoing effects. And Moonstone is an important new puzzle piece to that. She unlocks some very unique and cool opportunities on obviously the lower power cards, but you can also sort of use her as a cheat mechanic into higher costed cards by copying something with Mystique, who is a 3 cost card herself, and Moonstone will duplicate Mystique. So that's a very interesting nugget to her. She can create an engine for a deck, for example Patriot and Mystique, and then just needs finisher cards plugged in. So what I mean to say by that is if you've got a core sort of engine of Patriot and Mystique and Moonstone, that combo alone is giving +8 to your cards with no abilities. So if you consider Wasp in that scenario, Wasp becomes a 0/9 absolute game changer, and then you can do other cards. I mean, even just as simple as something like Brood, Mr. Sinister, Wasp, Mysterio, whatever it may be, Squirrel Girl. You're obviously running out of room by this point, but just consider though the kind of potential that she has for building an engine. She gives the opportunity to enhance one location and consolidate its strategy, as well as still having time and energy to play higher costed cards. So because she uniquely synergizes with lower costed ongoing cards, typically their effects can be either board wide or they can, I don't know why I said typically there, actually that was just stupid. Anyway, they can be either self-contained, things like Captain America and Speed, or they can be board wide or cost reductions like Ravonna and other cards. Victoria Hand, the new card in the week that I'm recording this. So she has this opportunity where you can either enhance a board wide strategy or lock down a location with extreme power. So that's very interesting. Okay, so the pros. She has fine stats, 4/6 is good, along with absurd value effect. Effects as strong as this are usually accompanied by lower power. Yeah, we've seen this in the past. I mean, just look at Mystique. Mystique can obviously copy any ongoing effect, but it is only any one, and obviously that does allow you to copy very expensive effects like Onslaught. But Moonstone is copying everything at that location, and she's just a 4/6. That seems very good. She has versatile combo potential for duplicating board effects like Victoria Hand, or go-tool effects like Ant-Man, Dazzler and Captain America. That's basically what I said literally a second ago, almost literally like word for word, but it's still true. It's truer now than ever. She can be played alongside a 1 or 2 cost card on the final turn for a surprise play. So they may not quite understand what you're doing, or they may think that you have this location with maybe like a Dazzler in. They're expecting you to go wide, not tall, and you can really take the rug from under their, take their socks off there, and knock them off there. Okay, right, get things back on track. This is devolving. Let's read out a sensible point for once. She's unbelievably fucking cool. Are you kidding me with this shit? Look at this. Look at her, even her 90s costume is unique and incredible and cool. Like her current costume and the costume that she's depicted in the card is awesome. Just looks very sleek and just cool. And that time she became Ms. Marvel or Captain Marvel, whatever it was, when she was in the Dark Avengers. We are in a Dark Avengers season after all. She looks, I mean, this Mike Deodato, is it Mike Deodato Jr. artwork? She just looks insane. Anyway, cons. She's all in on one location, so that location is extremely susceptible to counter. This might make you wonder, do I need to play a Cosmo in this location? If you do play the Cosmo, the fantastic news is that effect gets duplicated. So you stop their on-reveal effects not only once, but twice. So for example, if they play Wong, that will stop everything. That'll stop everything. But yeah, so that only leaves you 2 slots to copy actual things that you want to copy. So there's that. But just in general, obviously, she has a lot of counters as well. So she's an all eggs in one basket. Or all stones in one basket, if you will. Anyway, locations. Good and bad. There's some absolute stinkers for Moon Girl, to be honest. There's some uniquely bad stinkers for Moonstone. But let's talk about the good ones first. Onslaught Citadel, always an obvious one when we're talking about ongoing cards, but particularly cards like this where they duplicate effects. So this just goes absolutely crazy on Onslaught Citadel, and nowhere gives you the protection from counter cards like Rogue and Red Guardian. But bad locations, there's some absolutely horrific ones, guys. Crimson Cosmos and the Big House are both absolutely just insanely bad. I mean, it's not the end of the world because there obviously are 2 other locations, but it means you flat out can't play Moonstone at that location. I mean, similarly to Isle of Silence, really. But the Big House and Crimson Cosmos, they actually mean that you can't play the opposite there. If you get what I mean, Moonstone, she's a 4-cost card, so you can't play her at the Big House, but you have to play her alongside the smaller costed cards, so it means you also sort of can't play the lower costed cards there. So it sort of wipes out one location for sort of like all of your cards, which is weird and interesting. Isle of Silence, obviously, and then Asteroid M, gonna pull your Moonstone away, so if you haven't built your sort of location of lower costed cards there, and then suddenly that reveals in its Asteroid M, you're like, I have a problem here. So just play all your costed cards, all your lower costed cards there. So there is some restriction in where you can play more so than ever when playing Moonstone. Now let's talk about the counters. As I said, she's got quite a few. Echo, I think, is going to be a big one. Echo is a fantastic card, completely invisible, as we all know. And I think she's heavily underplayed. She's so good. She single-handedly wins games. How many times have you seen them play Iron Man, and then it's just an instant retreat? So maybe she's not the biggest cube winner, but she's going to be fantastic. And when they see you put down something like an Ant-Man, maybe a Ravonna Renslayer, an Echo is an easy thing for them to fit into playing that location against you. I've put Scream and Magneto, but actually the move disruption cards in general are going to be a bit of a problem for Moonstone. Moonstone, you obviously want to play cards in one location and have a benefit from these specific synergies, especially if you've got things like Captain America and Ant-Man at that location. Them disrupting those cards is a massive drop-off in power. You've obviously got the classic on-reveal taker-awayers and stealers like Rogue and Enchantress. We've also got Jean Grey here as well, because she can restrict where your opponent's playing. And Jean Grey probably having a little bit of a resurgence with the recent release of Rocket and Groot. I'm seeing her a little bit more, but still not massively. Anyway, let's talk about the fun stuff, the synergy. So Ant-Man, we have spoken about a little bit, but Ant-Man goes absolutely crazy alongside Moonstone. Well, not absolutely crazy actually, but it's certainly a lot of extra power for only a small investment. 2 insane board-wide ones is Ravonna and Victoria. I keep smumbling my words. Nah, that was so bad. Ravonna Renslayer is absolutely absurd with Moonstone. I mean, especially if you can get like a Mystique off. Mystique, Ravonna, Moonstone, probably not in that order. And then your hand maybe has things like, you could have like the early game stuff like Sage, Cassandra Nova, those cheaper, lower cost, the lower costed cards. But also the high Big Daddy Papa ones like I mean, think about Iron Man and Arnim Zola. If you have Ravonna Renslayer into Mystique, into Moonstone, is that like a 4 discount? So you could actually do like Iron Man, Zola, other crazy stuff. I mean, I don't, would Gore work with that? I'm not sure. I don't think Gore does work with Ravonna Renslayer, actually. I'm not certain, let me know. Is the Gore in-hand indicator just that? Is it just an indicator? Victoria Hand. I mean, guys, I'm not going to lie, this is where I'm going to be playing Moonstone. Victoria Hand is she my favourite card in the game? I absolutely adore the shield archetype, so I have been having the time of my life in the last week. Playing Iron Patriot and Victoria Hand, it's just been absolutely crazy. And Moonstone slots into Victoria Hand so well. As the actress said to the bishop. No, sexual. Sorry about that, guys. I lost my train of thought. Choo choo! Victoria Hand is going to be so good that even if you just play down some arrows generated by Kate Bishop Hawkeye, that is so huge. Like the grapple arrow becomes what, a 3, 4, 5, 6. A grapple arrow becomes a 1/7. But throw a Mystique in there. Do you know whatever? Throw a Frigga in there. Frigga is incredible with Victoria Hand. You can easily go Victoria Hand, Frigga, Moonstone. Then your turn 5 can just be Victoria Hand again and Hawkeye, whatever. And you start going absolutely explosive with these cards that you can generate. Of course, you don't have many turns to actually generate cards in that instance. And then some of the interesting ones, Onslaught is going to be interesting on the Moonstone location, depending on what you need access to. You could be playing something like a Magic Ravonna Moonstone Onslaught thing. That gives you unbelievable discount, and your final turn 7, your miracle turn 7, can be like basically a Mr. Negative turn essentially by that point, without the flip power, so maybe not as good. But and also let's think about discard Strong Guy and Morbius. So there's honestly some strong discard options that would work well with Moonstone as well. Let's talk about the decks, and first of all, I think going forward, I think I'll highlight the budget deck first every time. So for you lower collection level players, this cook is a Patriot cook. Patriot Moonstone, I've called it Patriot Stone. The idea with this is that on your early turns, you probably want to actually hold off playing Mysterio, just FYI. You probably want to play the other stuff. Because you ideally probably want to build a location with Patriot, Mystique, Moonstone, and then on your turn 5 and 6 you start building, on your turn 6 you can actually just do something as simple as Ultron with Wasp at that location as well. In this little cook of Patriot, Mystique, Moonstone, that is giving all of your no power cards, no ability cards +8. So it makes the Doom, well, again, let's talk about Doom bots actually. It makes the Doom bots 13, and it makes the Ultron bots like 10. So absolutely crazy. So you don't need much. That's why the Wasp is actually quite crucial here as well, because it allows you to play one of these powerful 6-drop cards, Doom or Ultron, alongside the Wasp. Or your early turn maybe looks a bit more traditional. You don't go quite so greedy on the Patriot, Mystique, Moonstone stuff. I mean, you can still play stuff out on the first turn. Things like the Ant-Man. You probably can do the Squirrel Girl actually, because that doesn't block off your Moonstone, Patriot, Mystique location. It just means that location becomes probably slightly more likely to lose if you don't have too much going on there. But that is so much power that you can then rely on the other locations a bit more. So it's an interesting one. This is pretty close to the deck I'll be playing. In fact, I'll probably be playing a slightly tweaked version of this deck, but this is called Slay Queen. So this is a bit of a girl power deck. Yes, we do have Iron Man and Coulson in here, I guess Iron Patriot, maybe a male under that armor, but you'll never truly know, guys. It could be anyone. And Black Widow's probably piloting the Quinjet. There you go. Anyway, so this is powerful female characters, but it's a shield archetype type situation. As I said earlier, Frigga has come into her own. Frigga has become my sort of winner of the season, really. Apart from the new cards, Frigga has been revitalised for me. I bought her on release. I think I got her soon after release because I really enjoyed... I just like everything about the card. And I've relatively enjoyed her thus far. but with Victoria Hand she comes into her own. The Victoria Hand copy is a 2/7, and that alone is incredible, but when you play that down in a deck where you've got access to generated cards, it just goes absolutely bonkers. And Moonstone, being able to duplicate that Victoria Hand effect either again or just being able to duplicate that effect in general is incredible. You can even, well, the other very strong the other very strong ongoing effects you have in this deck are Quinjet and Ravonna, so you can really pump out some cards. That is in fact pretty much the sole reason why we've got Iron Man in here. We'll also back that up a little bit with Sage and Mystique to truly benefit from the Ravonna. But it's madness, absolutely madness. Also, forgot to say, another thing that is fantastic with Victoria Hand and Frigga is actually Iron Patriot. If you can get the Iron Patriot down, get that discount, your turn 4 can actually be, if you've played it on curve, the generated card into Frigga. It's just bonkers. So this is probably what I'll be playing, but it is a Premium Plus deck. It does have a lot of Series 6 cards in here. So let's talk about a Premium deck next. This is Moongoing. So this is like an ongoing style deck, so you might be thinking, all right, yeah, like the Spectrum route. No, I've actually not got Spectrum in here. As much as I wanted to weave and work Spectrum into this deck, I couldn't actually fit her in. She didn't quite make much sense, because on the turn 6, we're generally going to be playing a 5 energy card alongside one of our one-costed cards, because we've got some really powerful one-costed cards in here. Either the Ant-Man or one of the generated arrows can be a huge amount of power swing, especially in light of the fact that we've got a Moonstone, so we're going to be wanting to tie down one location with Moonstone and the sort of single location based cards. So maybe things like Captain America and Ant-Man, maybe an arrow that we might get from there. Those are the key things that we're going to be wanting to do in there. We'd also have the Ravonna in here because the Mystique and Iron Man, just having Ravonna alone with Moonstone means that Iron Man and Mystique cost, what, 4? That combo alone costs 4, so it gives you some extra energy to play with as well. Absolute madness. That's really good. And then you've got a lot of cards that generate their own power or buffs to other cards, like Captain America as well. So I thought Gilgamesh might be a good one as well. They probably, if you're playing this style of deck, they probably don't expect you to be able to go so tall on a location that you've not put any energy investment into whatsoever. So bringing down like a 5/13 power Gilgamesh could be a big surprise for them. Or even higher, your final turn could be like an Ant-Man filling in your Moonstone location, which maybe has a Captain America in. They all get buffs, and then I don't know, maybe you've got like an arrow out there already. Yeah, absolutely awesome coolness and a slightly different way to play an ongoing deck. Little reminder, please like this video if you're enjoying it so far. If you're hating it, it's also actually pretty worthwhile to like it, because I'll basically be able to tell that your like is like an evil like, and I'll get the bad vibes, and so I'll feel bad. So if you don't like me in general, that's actually a really good way to sort of negatively impact me. And of course subscribe if you're enjoying it, and turn on notifications. Now let's talk about the star ratings for the card. I think overall she's a 4.5 star card. I might be a little high on her, I don't know, maybe she's around the 4-star range, but I think she's fantastic. I think her ability is so strong, and when you consider just even the Ravonna interaction or the Victoria Hand interaction, that is so big, it's so massive, it unlocks so much for you in the context of Ravonna, or it gives you so much extra power in the context of Victoria Hand, that alongside her 6 power, like she has fine power, usually that strength of effect is not coupled with this level of power. So just with those few cards, I think the opportunity is massive for her. From a fun perspective, I give her 3.5. I'm not sure, again, maybe she is more in the 4 range. I think she definitely will be a fun card, but not explosively unbelievable. I don't know, we'll see. This might be the one that I truly miss on. Archetype, within the archetype, I think she'll be a 4 stars. I don't think she'll be like mandatory or required in things like Victoria Hand or ongoing. I don't think she'll be required in those decks, but I think she'll be strong and maybe niche is the right word, but I still think she's a good card. I'm sort of rambling here. And from a competitive perspective, I do think she's very strong. Like I say, that Ravonna combination seems like one of her biggest opportunities. So I've given her 5 stars for that. Overall, you will not be surprised to hear that I think she is a snap. She is awesome. I mean, guys, again, she's just an incredibly cool character. Dr. Carla Sofan. Yeah, if you want to talk about the actual lore comic book, yeah, I know her name. I know her name. Don't come up on my porch, telling me that I'm stupid or something. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what you are doing this week. Are you going in for Moonstone? And please, if you didn't do so earlier, just a reminder to tell me your favourite comic book, story arc, or most wanted season, basically. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers.